People have often dismissed Chinese-made products as low quality. Now that perception seems to extend to their military hardware as well. These weapons have let down countries like Pakistan, Myanmar, and most recently, Iran. Over the last 20 years, China's arms industry surged and spread across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East, offering affordable alternatives to nations that couldn't access Western defense systems, either due to cost or sanctions. Iran, isolated from the West since the 1979 revolution, once relied on elite American and European weapons, like the F-14 Tomcat. But when those ties collapsed, Tehran was left with few choices. Russia wasn't fully trusted, and its weapons were pricey and hit or miss. China filled the gap, offering cheaper options while promising cutting-edge tech. Pakistan's path followed a similar course. During the Cold War, it had US support, but sanctions following its 1998 nuclear tests forced Pakistan to lean heavily on Beijing's generosity in supplying jets, tanks, and naval vessels. China has long boasted about its so-called next-gen weapons, claiming superiority to Western systems. In the 90s and 2000s, it heavily advertised platforms like the JF-17 Thunderjet. Later came the J-20 stealth fighter and advanced missile tech, all marketed as cost-effective rivals to US or Russian systems. Many nations, barred from Western tech, eagerly bought into this illusion, believing they were acquiring powerful deterrents. But what they really got was a pile of costly hardware that failed when it counted. This video breaks down how these much-hyped Chinese arms fell apart in actual combat, and why this could mark a turning point in Beijing's military ambitions. If you find this topic compelling, please like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Does this shift your view on Chinese military power? Iran and Israel's long-brewing tensions escalated in early 2025 into full-scale conflict. On June 13, Israel struck first with a stealth air assault, disabling Iran's radar systems, many of which were Chinese-supplied. The Chinese-made JY-10 radar, designed to detect hundreds of targets across wide distances, failed to even detect a single jet. Israeli anti-radiation missiles wiped out key radar posts, leaving Iran blind. With Iran's detection systems down, Israeli jets and drones quickly dismantled airbases, missile sites, and key command centers. Chinese state media rushed to cover the fallout with exaggerated claims, such as an 80% success rate for Iranian air defenses. Some even said Israeli F-35s were shot down, but these were based on doctored or AI-generated images with no real evidence. In truth, Iran had to rely on outdated anti-aircraft guns, ineffective in modern warfare. Despite this embarrassing failure, Tehran responded not with outrage but renewed interest in buying more Chinese arms. Reports suggest that even after recent Israeli strikes, Iran sent senior officials to Beijing to negotiate for new J-10C fighters, dubbed 4th Gen jets, despite a history of underperformance. Iran's options are limited. Russian jets are off the table due to Moscow's own war demands in Ukraine, and Chinese jets are cheaper, though arguably less capable. Iran even tried bartering oil and gas in earlier deals. Now, with sanctions eased on China's purchase of Iranian oil as of June 2025, Tehran has a clear path to restock its military with Chinese tech. But will that help? China's justification for its arms effectiveness partly rests on the outcome of Pakistan's 2025 skirmish with India. Beijing claimed Pakistani pilots flying Chinese jets like the J-10C had downed several Indian Rafales, claims disproven by independent sources. Nonetheless, China doubled down by releasing documentaries glorifying its aircraft development. Iran nearly closed a major deal for 150 J-10Cs in 2015, but sanctions and payment issues stalled it. Negotiations resumed post-2020 after a UN arms embargo lifted. In 2025, with oil for weapons bartering now more feasible, Iran appears ready to finalize the purchase despite the tech's combat record. Rather than accept responsibility for Iran's defense failure, Chinese media blamed Russian-made S-300 missile systems for the disaster, despite their own systems failing first. Some Chinese voices even claimed the failure wouldn't have happened if Chinese operators had manned the radars, an admission that the gear isn't reliable without heavy support. In the days following the Israeli assault, Chinese cargo planes mysteriously disappeared from radar as they entered Iranian airspace, possibly delivering covert military aid. Officially, their destination was Luxembourg, but the flight paths suggest otherwise. China has a history of discreetly supporting anti-Western states, so this fits a familiar pattern, one that maintains plausible deniability while sustaining key partnerships. Iran's humiliating failure might have been avoided had it studied Pakistan's experience. Just weeks earlier, after a deadly terrorist attack in India, New Delhi retaliated with Operation Sindoor, targeting terrorist bases within Pakistan. Despite being shielded by Chinese-built defenses, Pakistan's airspace was penetrated with ease. India's jets and missiles bypassed HQ-9 systems, China's supposed equivalent to the Patriot or S-300, and struck all 9 planned targets. Not one Indian missile was intercepted. Pakistan scrambled to respond but was too late. Footage released by India showed precise strikes, while Pakistan downplayed the damage. Initially, Chinese and Pakistani media tried to spin the story, but when truth surfaced, Chinese defense stocks plummeted. Aviation firms like Avic, Chengdu, and missile suppliers saw their shares tumble by up to 20% within 2 weeks. And instead of Pakistan blaming China, Beijing turned the tables, accusing Pakistani operators of incompetence. Behind closed doors, China reportedly pressured Islamabad to destroy all evidence of failures to protect its arms business. This failure has bigger implications. The same Chinese radar models that failed in Pakistan are deployed along China's own Himalayan border with India. India has now tested and proven their weaknesses not just once, but in incidents dating back to 2019 and 2022. If future conflict arises along the border, we might see the same outcomes. Why do Chinese weapons fail in real combat? The answer lies in reverse engineering, corruption, and lack of battlefield validation. Most of China's military platforms are based on copied designs from Russia or the US, modified without the depth of R&D behind the originals. They may look high-tech, but internal quality is often poor. Take the HQ-9, built on stolen elements from Russia's S-300 and the US Patriot. Or the J-11 jet, a Chinese version of the Russian Su-27. When the license expired, China continued building it without authorization, struggling with upgrades. The J-15, based on a single Su-33 prototype from Ukraine, suffers from structural and reliability issues. Its reputation? Poor. China's Wing-Lung and CH-4 drones mirror US MQ series drones but are plagued by maintenance issues. Iraq and Jordan both face serious operational failures with CH-4Bs. Jordan grounded and tried to sell them after realizing their limitations. Chinese tanks and artillery, like the Type 59, 69 and even the modern Type 99, borrow heavily from outdated Soviet blueprints. Their rocket systems? Copies of Russian designs with minimal improvements. Without high-level integration and testing, performance suffers across the board. Even when the design is decent, quality control breaks down due to corruption. In 2023, reports emerged of Chinese missiles filled with water instead of fuel. Silo lids were found defective. This forced Xi Jinping to purge senior military officials, including the defense minister. If strategic weapons are this compromised, imagine the export-grade ones. China hasn't fought a real war in over 40 years. Without real-world testing, its weapons rely on speculation and propaganda. Even outdated systems in other countries occasionally land hits. Chinese systems? 0 hits in 2 major conflicts. So, why do nations like Iran and Pakistan keep buying from China? Because those deals come with financial incentives, diplomatic perks, and potential personal gain for officials. And China? It aims to become a global power by boosting its arms exports. But recent failures threaten that dream. After what happened in Iran and Pakistan, China's defense industry might face serious setbacks. If you found this breakdown insightful, please drop a comment below. What do you think? Is Chinese military power all smoke and mirrors?